Hey guys, Ramsey here from Jello. In this video, we're going to be going over a few things that you can do to help reduce churn and engage your users in your Web3 project. And if you're wondering why you should listen to me, we've worked with the likes of Solana, ICP, Polkadot, Supra, and many others in and around this to ensure that they are building resilient communities and growing their brand. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Now, the first thing that any Web3 brand should do is define their brand position and curate their narrative. Now, what is a brand position? Well, essentially, it's how you want to be framed in the market, right? How do you want people to look at you when you compare them to your competitors or other projects in the space? And this is very much based in substance. We don't want to use a lot of lofty words here. This is very much down to the core of the value proposition that you're providing. Doing X for Y people through some other means, through Z. Right? Making sure the brand position is crystal clear is really important. We don't want to make it convoluted. It needs to be very, very simple to understand what you guys are doing and how you're doing it. And it's not just telling about users what the product does. It's about making them feel like it's a solution just built for them. Now, there are a couple schools of thought when doing this. You know, a lot of new projects feel like they should define a new category, which can work. If you are building something really out there and it's different than other solutions in the market, feel free to define your own category and build your positioning off that. It does mean that you'll get a lot of the attention for that category. A good example would be Eigenlayer, who developed restaking, and then Symbiotic Fi came out with their own version, and Karak Network came out with their own version, but Eigenlayer still gets most of the attention. The other option is to choose a couple hyper advantages that you have over competitors and make your positioning around them and kind of compete for those advantages. And that example can be seen with Ethereum versus Solana. Both are layer 1 blockchains, so both in the same category, but they attract different communities based on their brand positioning, as Ethereum marks itself as a versatile general smart contract platform, and Solana focuses on being fast and cheap. Those things obviously speak to different people and showcase different expectations to those people, right? When you go to Solana, you can expect fast and cheap, network, great for DeFi. But for Ethereum, as a general smart contract platform, you could probably expect a little bit more versatility in how you're building things. So, why is this important? When users understand what makes your project unique, they are more likely to see it as a solution to their specific needs. And we can also tailor our positioning for different segments of the market, right? Another way to do this is to position yourself as a solution for a specific part of the market and overservice them to make sure that your messaging cuts through to them and only them. And that makes it a lot more compelling for those people to join your community versus having a very broad value proposition. Now, obviously, this is important because an emotional connection is a powerful tool for retention, right? If we're just sitting on the line of mediocrity in terms of, everyone knows about us, everyone likes us, that's not a strong enough emotional kick to get people to talk about us and to stay focused on us. So we need to really make sure that we're driving that emotional connection and making sure that our messaging and our positioning really resonates with the target audience in a way that's different to other competitors in our niche. So, what do we need to do? Define the brand position early, test the messaging, see what sticks, and then iterate, and then make sure that we're honing it to speak to our audience, right? Now, I think there's a key distinction we need to make here. We can test and change our messaging if we're going often, without having to worry too much, if we're still focused on solving the same problem for the same people. It might be a case that, we do have a real solution for some people, but we haven't understood how to word it properly yet or how to position the solution. And I think it's totally fine to continue iterating and testing messaging around that. I think where problems stem is where we position ourselves alongside different narratives. For example, maybe one day we're a deep in project servicing X people, and then we're an AI project servicing Y people, and then we're etc., kind of moving around and bouncing around wider narratives. At that point, we probably should rethink the product and what we're really doing, because now we're chasing and trying to curve fit our technology to some market, when realistically we should be focusing on the market first and solving, and the problem should be there already, and we should be creating technology to solve that problem. So just two different things to think about. But overall, this is why brand positioning matters, right? If your brand position is strong enough, right, and your narrative is strong enough and compelling enough to the target users then they're more likely to, again, build that emotional connection and have a sense of belonging and purpose with us. If we can continuously show them that we are the right solution for them, not only through product but through our messaging, then it's a lot more compelling for them to become a part of our community and join our journey and hopefully integrate with our technology. Now, moving on from that, the second thing is to curate and cultivate that initial community. So obviously our narrative and our positioning is going to help kind of put us in front of the right people. But what we need to do now is cultivate a quality community. So a lot of the problems with community in the space nowadays revolve around just trying to attract numbers through questification platforms and X to earn engagements, right? You put a bounty if you join the Discord or follow us on Twitter, that people count that as community. Now, unfortunately, that's not really what a community is. Community should be people who are aligned economically and culturally. And trying to attract everyone can lead to a mercenary community where everyone's just there for themselves. At the end of the day, we're not trying to service everyone. Ideally, you have a group of evangelists that are really going to use the product, bet on the product, market the product for you, because the end state of marketing is community. If you can build those evangelists who are going to rave about you to their friends and family, that's fantastic. To do this, we have to curate that early community. Not try to attract everyone, but aim for a small, engaged group of people who generally use the product. Now we can start looking at, small scale, 20 to 30 dedicated people who are really going to advocate for the product and nurturing those people and really being engaged with those people. And this way, they're more likely to stay loyal and even advocate for the brand. This will create a ripple effect that will attract like-minded users to come and figure out what's really going on here. Remember, it's all about building those connections and building that network within the community. As I mentioned, a quick tip: when we're building this community, avoid relying heavily on token incentives or cash incentives, because this is what kind of breeds instability in the community. People will just be there for the monetary incentive. Now, if you really want to reduce churn, we've got to do it the hard way and the long way, which is building relationships. And if you want to, have a quick win and see yourself go to 5,000 Discord users in 5 minutes, then sure, you can do the quick rewards, but just be noted that those users will not be here for the long run. Now, something that I should really highlight is when we're building community, we should really focus on building relationships within the community, right? If we have relationships as a brand with every community member, that's good, but it's not really community. It's just a lot of one-to-one relationships. We need to build relationships between the people in the community, so many-to-many relationships. And that way, what happens is when we build those relationships and people kind of benefit from those relationships down the line, they have good experiences with our community and they can relate that back to the brand. So what we're really doing is facilitating, this value creation between the community that people can then attribute back to us because we're the ones who put them together. So really take the time to quality assure your first early community members, spend time with them, understand them, work with them, get feedback from them, make them feel like they're really contributing to the product, and then they'll become evangelists, which you can, help in their journey down the line, and they can help you back. So moving on to the third thing is engagement through events and experiences. So we've touched on this slightly. When your community is taking shape, the next step is to engage them both online and offline. And now that we've got this group of people who we want to target as our community, let's say these are, day one product users, and we've decided we understood their demographics, we understand the persona that we want to have in the community, we've quality assured the early people, it's now time to engage them. It's very easy to fall into the trap of AMAs, meme contests, and all that sorts, which you get with a community management agency or most of them anyway, from what I've seen. But what we really need to do is not jump straight to the tactics. These are all tactics for engagement. What we should be doing is thinking a little bit more strategically. Who are these people that we want to engage? Who are the early community? What is their behavior? What do they like? What does their time schedule look like? Who are these people? And then we can go and decide which tactics are best for us and how we can strategically go about this. Now, events are a great way to bring people together. As I mentioned, many to many relationships are the end goal here. And that way the community can run without you having to put your hands in too much. But what we really need to do is make sure that these events are tailored for or tailored to the audience that we're trying to attract, and are appealing experiences for those people. It's not just about content. They're about showing the users that you value their presence and that you want to connect with them beyond just the platform, right? Showing them that you're really trying to, do something for them versus do something that can be for them, right? Or doing something that they can engage with. The focus should be on them, not the actual event. And a quick tip here would be use these events to engage with your core users personally. If there's a couple projects who have been using your technology or integrated your technology, spend the time to, have a drink with them, have lunch. Do events that will also engage their community. Make sure that they feel heard and they feel part of the process. Interactive and tailored events are really great, especially when we're reaching out to our audience's interests, and this will allow us to naturally encourage participation and build a stronger sense of community. And I think the point to hammer home again, many to many relationships, let them obtain value from the events, and make sure that they are personable, right? Everyone's a person at the end of the day, and this industry is built off relationships. If we can't help people feel heard, and make people feel a little bit special, then we're not really going to get many places when engaging that core community. And the more that they feel engaged with the brand and the more that they feel heard, the less likely they are going to churn, because they feel like they're part of something bigger than just themselves. Now, the fourth thing is communication. This is a big killer, right? Transparency is our secret weapon against churn. Now, we've seen it firsthand. Projects who like to, maybe hold off from revealing a lot of information when there's bad news. Projects that don't communicate properly with their audience, with their teams. All of these things can, increase churn and reduce engagement. You should be open about the project's progress. Have we hit milestones? Are we on track for milestones? Any questions around this? If there's any delays, any challenges that we're facing. It can be hard because of the nature of Web3 and the structure to which projects are built by raising capital from people who don't really build startups. It's hard to kind of keep everyone happy. But if we can be transparent and open about anything that's going on that might cause FUD or might be perceived as bad to the community, it's better to rip the band-aid off sooner and get it over with and, be transparent than to keep it hidden from the community. Building trust with the users, being vulnerable builds trust and prevents users from feeling that they're being kept in the dark. Now, again, this is a lot easier said than done, but if you can find a way to really be transparent with your communication, it will help tenfold in reducing FUD and churn. You might even gain the respect of the community for how you communicate. And the reason why it works is because people generally are more forgiving when they know the truth, and they appreciate when brands keep them in the loop. In this space where trust is an issue, there are a lot of bad actors. If your community have been curated, if your community have been quality assured, if they've been engaged with the brand, and then we are being honest with them and transparent with them, it makes it a lot easier for them to forgive and to work forward and to move on. All right, and building trust with transparency can be the difference between users sticking around during hard times and then jumping ship at the first sign of trouble, right? So this is a really important thing to do, and we always recommend this to our clients, no matter how hard it is. And finally, constantly activate and refresh engagement. Community activation should not be a one-time thing. Realistically, we should have a timeline of activations for the foreseeable future, whereby we are rolling in activations one after the other. And this keeps users engaged because we can provide them with new stimulus, experiences, content, or challenges. It's great for that. Another idea is we can host seasonal events. We can introduce collaborative challenges with other teams. And obviously, users can see ongoing value if we can keep them engaged, right? If there's always something going on, they'll feel like they want to be part of it. I think a really good case study would be looking at the Solana ecosystem and how they have hackathons and hacker houses that ultimately roll into Breakpoint, which is their yearly event. And so there's always an activation of there's always something to do, there's always something to do. And that's on the macro level. On the micro level, they have the super teams, which are localized developer hubs. And this is something that we've had the pleasure of working a bit with Super Team UK. And, the way that they do things is fantastic. And it's very refreshing to see that there's a continuous activation for their community, right? There's workshops, webinars, builder houses rolling into hackathons on the global scale, events that they're doing for networking. All these things are, constant and fresh activations for their community to derive value from. And I think that's the most important thing. Ultimately, it helps them build relationships with the community. Remember, retention isn't just about you keeping users on your platform. It's about continuously giving them reasons to want to be there, right? We don't want to be the second best choice. We want people to be actively wanting to be on our platform. With constant activation and fresh engagement strategies, you can reduce the likelihood of users losing interest and churning. So remember, constant activation and engagement plans is extremely important. So that's pretty much it for the video. These are the most important things in our opinion when it comes to reducing churn and engagement. Other things like content can also be thrown in the mix, but these are more foundational items, right? We're talking about community here. We need to make the community feel that they should be belonging with you because your positioning and your narrative helps them feel that you're the right solution. We should then cultivate and curate that early community to make sure that we are bringing in the people that align with our brand and then can represent the brand further down the line. We want to make sure that these people feel engaged and that they feel like their experiences are being curated for them. And again, this is also reinforcing our narrative that we are the right solution for them. Be transparent because that builds trust. And always find refreshing and engagement opportunities and constant activation for the community to always have them feel like there's something to do and there's no stagnation. So overall, these are the 5 most important things for reducing churn and in driving engagement within your Web3 community. Now, in the description, I will drop a couple resources that will help you in kind of mapping these things out. And I hope that those resources are good and you found this video valuable. And if you did, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. See you in the next one.